Hi, I'm going to show you how to install Btwin bike computer. Okay, this box has multiple components. I'll show you what are they. The first one is a computer. This is a bracket which gets mounted onto the handlebar of the bicycle. This is a sensor with a cable, a pad to support the sensor, and a magnet which moves around that sensor, and few zip tags. Now, before we proceed with the installation, first thing we need to do is take out the tag of this sensor and take the bracket. This bracket has two sides. So we should take one of the side of the bracket, which is this side, and pass the sensor across this particular hole till the end of the cable. Now this is ready, we can proceed towards the installation of the sensor. First thing is, we need to identify the place where we want to mount the sensor. Take a couple of tags which can go around the sensor and a pad which will support the sensor to be mounted onto the bicycle bar. So now you would see me passing the tags across the sensor, two of them, like this. Now I loosely mount it onto the bar like this, but make sure you don't tighten it too much, because you need to adjust the sensor between the sensor and the magnet. So this magnet will go on to one of the spokes like this, it will go. Okay, now this is a screw which will tighten the magnet. So tighten slightly so that you can adjust it. So one of the very important thing in the installation of this computer is that the sensor and the magnet distance should not be more than 5 millimeters. So make sure they are very close to each other. So I'm going to adjust this to meet the required distance. Now that the distance between the sensor and the magnet is less than 5 millimeters, I tighten the magnet as well as the zip tags on the sensor itself. I'll use a screwdriver to tighten this particular magnet so that it doesn't get loosened up. So this is the sensor is ready with the magnet mounted onto the spokes. Now look at this cable. Look at this particular cable which will get connected to the computer. So what we need to do is just pass this particular cable few times across this front cable itself so that it's tight enough and doesn't get jammed up while you're riding a bicycle. So I'm going to do this couple of times or maybe few times to make it hard or tight enough. And you also see the slack between the cable and the bar. Probably you can even put a tag here so that it doesn't get loosened up. I can do this as well. Alright, now that this portion is ready, we can pass this cable few times across the front brake cable. Okay, so now that I have the cable nicely wrapped across the front cable wire, we can go ahead and mount the bracket like this, and you put two couple of zip tags and tighten the bracket. Okay, so now that the bracket is tightly mounted onto the handlebar and the cable is nicely wrapped across the front cable, we can take the computer, and now the very important step of configuring the computer we will discuss. So first thing what we need to do is turn it at the back side of the computer and press the reset button. Once you press the reset button, you would see the runnings number. So press once on OK, you would see the kilometer per hour blinking. So press once again on OK to set that, and now you have an option to select the 12-hour or 24 hours node option. So I would select 24 hours node option and click again on OK. Okay, now it's you can see the first number is blinking, which is the timer. So now the time is 1 o'clock past. Click OK to proceed to the next number of minutes. Press set till you get the desired time. Now the time is 1:40. Let's say OK. Now it's an important step is what is the tire circumference on this particular bicycle. My bicycle is the circumference is around 2080. So I will click OK to set to and move on to the next number that I will press few times to get 0. So I get 0, move on to the next button, then I select 8, the next, and then 0, click OK. So now I have the computer ready. So it's important that we measure the circumference of the bicycle before we feed this information. So how do we do that? I will show that as well. So now we have the computer ready, we can fix it onto the bicycle itself. Alright, so it is now ready for use. But it was important that we know the circumference of the bicycle. I will show you how to do it. So take one of the reference point of, of the front wheel from where you want to measure the bicycle wheel circumference. So here I am taking the point from where I am going to measure the circumference. So this point I am going to mark it with a pencil. So this is the reference point. I am going to take it, this line where this particular notch is there, and then I will roll the wheel till I come back to the same position. Okay, so this is the place. Now I measure the distance from the time point I started till here. So that will be in using a tape. I'll show you how to do it. From this point, here, it's in millimeters, around 2080. So this is what I fed it into the computer. So once it is ready, it is time for you to test whether the computer is working or not. So now I'm going to roll. Can you see the speedometer running with the number of kilometers?